Have you ever felt like everything in your life is falling apart, but you don't know why? Maybe it's not just bad luck. Maybe God is trying to speak to you. But the question is, are you listening? Daniel used to sleep well. His nights were peaceful, his rest deep and undisturbed. But for the last few weeks, every night was the same. He'd lie in bed, eyes closed, body still, but his soul restless. Sleep became a battleground. Thoughts swirled like a storm. Regrets from the past, anxieties about the future, what-ifs that had no answers, and beneath it all, a strange nudge, like something or someone was gently, persistently tugging at his heart. He couldn't shake the feeling of unease. It wasn't physical pain, but a deep spiritual disquiet that settled over him as soon as the sun went down. He tried everything to quiet his mind, but the internal noise only grew louder. He would toss and turn for hours, the silence of the night amplifying the questions in his soul. Why this sudden turmoil? Why this inability to find peace even in sleep? It felt like a signal he couldn't quite decipher. Why can't I sleep? He'd whisper into the darkness. Why do I feel so uneasy? Is there something I'm missing? The stillness offered no immediate answer, only the persistent, unsettling feeling that something significant was happening just beneath the surface of his awareness. At first, he thought it was coincidence, just random occurrences in a busy world. But then it happened again and again. A specific verse from Scripture kept showing up in the most unexpected places. He heard it quoted during a sermon at church. Later that week, it played on the radio in a song he'd never heard before. A friend sent him a text message with an encouraging word, and there it was, the exact same phrase. He even overheard a random stranger quoting it at the coffee shop while waiting in line. The words seemed to follow him, appearing like divine breadcrumbs on his path. It was too frequent, too specific to be mere chance. The verse was simple, yet profound. Be still and know that I am God. The exact same verse, again and again. It felt less like a suggestion and more like a direct, personal message being delivered through multiple channels. He started to pay attention. This repetition felt deliberate, intentional. It was as if the universe, or something beyond it, was trying to get his attention, using these specific words as a key. This verse again? He wondered. Is God trying to tell me something? Then came the interruptions. Not small inconveniences, but major disruptions that completely derailed his carefully laid plans. It felt like every door he tried to open was suddenly slammed shut. His business deal, the one he had worked on for months and was certain would succeed, cancelled unexpectedly at the last minute. A promising job opportunity that seemed perfect, it vanished without explanation. A long-planned vacation, a chance to finally rest and recharge, was delayed indefinitely by a sudden, unexpected illness. Everything he was building, everything he was striving for, seemed to be falling apart piece by piece. He was frustrated, confused, and increasingly desperate. Why was nothing working out? Why the constant roadblocks? But amidst the frustration, deep down, a small, quiet whisper echoed in his spirit. It wasn't a voice of condemnation, but one of gentle redirection. "Slow down," the whisper seemed to say. "You're going the wrong way. This path is not for you. Not right now." The disruptions weren't punishment. They were divine detours. Daniel felt lost and defeated. He sat at the park one day, head low, watching the leaves fall around him. He wasn't seeking conversation, just a moment of quiet solitude to process the chaos of his life. An old man sat down on the bench next to him, someone he'd never seen before in this park. They didn't talk for long, just a brief, unhurried exchange. The man's presence was calm. His eyes held a deep, knowing peace. He spoke softly, his voice gentle but firm. His words weren't a question or a suggestion. They were a statement of profound truth that resonated deep within Daniel's soul. It was as if the man knew exactly what Daniel was going through. "Sometimes," the old man said, his gaze steady, "God allows your plans to fall apart, so his plan can stand." The words hit Daniel like thunder, cutting through his confusion and pain with startling clarity. It was the answer he hadn't known how to ask for. Daniel looked up, stunned by the man's insight and the timing of his appearance, but as he turned to speak, the man was already standing, walking away slowly down the path, disappearing as quietly as he had arrived. "Who was he?" Daniel whispered, tears welling in his eyes. "And how did he know exactly what I needed to hear?" The cumulative weight of the restless nights, the repeating messages, the shattered plans, and the stranger's words finally broke Daniel. He couldn't carry the burden alone anymore. He needed answers. He needed peace. He needed something more than his own understanding. In a quiet room, he fell to his knees beside his bed, Bible open to the Psalms, tears flowing freely down his cheeks. He didn't have the words to form a coherent prayer. There were no eloquent phrases, no requests, just raw emotion and complete surrender. He stayed there for a long time, simply existing in his brokenness before whatever power felt so present. That's when he felt it. Not a sound, not a sight, but a profound sense of peace washing over him. A warmth spread from within, filling the emptiness in his chest. It wasn't the warmth of the room or the comfort of his surroundings. It was a spiritual presence, tangible and overwhelming in its love. In that moment of complete vulnerability, he understood. God wasn't punishing him with the disruptions. He was pursuing him. He was being called, lovingly, patiently, towards a different path, a deeper relationship. The signs weren't alarms of danger, but invitations to listen. Through the tears and the peace, a quiet whisper formed in his heart. "I hear you now," Daniel surrendered. "I'm listening." Maybe you're like Daniel. Maybe you've been experiencing restless nights, your soul unable to find peace. Perhaps you've noticed the same message, the same verse, the same idea showing up repeatedly in your life, demanding your attention. Have your carefully constructed plans recently fallen apart, leaving you confused and uncertain about the future? Have unexpected words from friends, strangers, or even media seem to speak directly to your deepest struggles? And have you felt that undeniable tug in your spirit, that emotional overwhelm when you finally pause and seek something more? These are not random occurrences. These are not just bad luck or coincidence. These are potential signs, divine signals that God is trying to speak to you, to guide you, to draw you closer. He is reaching out, using the circumstances of your life to get your attention. God speaks. He is always communicating, but He won't shout over the noise of your busy life, your distractions, or your own insistent plans. He waits patiently for you to quiet yourself. He whispers in the stillness. He calls through the unexpected. He uses the disruptions, the repetitions, the internal unrest, and the words of others as His messengers. The question isn't whether God is speaking. The question is simple, yet profound. Are you listening? If this video stirred something in your heart today, if any of these signs resonate with your current experience, pause right now. Don't let the moment pass. Take a deep breath. Quiet your mind for just a moment. Ask God directly, what are you trying to tell me? I'm here, I'm listening. Open your heart and your mind to receive whatever He might reveal. Be still and know that He is God, and He desires to connect with you. If you are ready to listen, ready to open yourself to God's voice in your life, comment below with, I'm listening, Lord. Let that be a declaration of your intention. And if you know someone who has been feeling lost lately, someone going through a difficult time, someone who might be missing these very signs, please share this video with them. Because maybe, just maybe, God is trying to speak through you too, to reach someone else who desperately needs to hear His voice. Share the hope, share the message, be a part of His plan.